everyone, my name's Sarah, part of the BJC Health team. Thank you so much for supporting our channel over all these years. We're looking forward to continue to bring hopefully awesome and informative content your way. So this next session is all about eating for a healthy heart. So in our clinic here in Sydney, we specialize in helping people with rheumatic disease live and feel that little bit better. But often our clients and our patients will often ask us how they can manage other things that are important to them when it comes to their health. So our dietitian Monica in tonight's session talks everything about how you can eat in a way to help lower and manage your cholesterol, blood pressure. So I hope you enjoy it. It's part one of the session, and take it away, Monica.
Everybody, thank you, Sarah. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight on what is, again, a little bit colder than usual, but it's keeping everybody inside. So I'm glad that you're here with me tonight. I am tonight going to talk a little bit about the portfolio diet for natural cholesterol lowering. It is one of my favorite topics. I've been trying to help people lower cholesterol for much of my 21 years of being a dietitian with some amazing results. So I always like sharing knowledge about the portfolio diet. I'm also going to talk just a tiny little bit about the DASH diet if we have time, which is designed for blood pressure lowering. And of course, a lot of these things go hand in hand. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of tonight, whether it's for yourself or, like what Sarah said, whether it's for a family member. Please load me up with questions. I always love to answer questions. So unfortunately, heart disease is and has been for a very long time Australia's leading cause of death. It does impact males more than females, but as females approach menopause and hit menopause, their heart disease risk actually starts to pretty much match that of the males. So if you're also dealing with arthritis, what we want to try and do is not have too many other health issues that we are trying to manage. We want to try and prevent heart disease or high cholesterol. So the portfolio diet has some key foods that reduce cholesterol. So I have a lot of clients that come to me and say, I've been trying to look after my health. I've been trying to eat better. I'm eating more fruit or vegetables. I'm trying not to eat as many high-fat foods or saturated fat foods. But for some reason, I don't think my cholesterol is going down. And sometimes for cholesterol, it's not what you're not eating, although it's good if you've made changes in reducing your fat, increasing your fiber, obviously having more vegetables. But sometimes it's what we don't know about that we're not eating. And that's what the portfolio diet's about. Now, a lot of you here have heard me speak before, so there will be some elements of this talk that you've heard of, but not in this way where the 5 or 6 top foods for cholesterol lowering, I'm going to put them together all in one line. And I've got examples here. So one of the main foods for the portfolio diet, which can actually reduce cholesterol by 20 to 30%. So research has proven this over and over again. So statins that are used for cholesterol lowering in the olden days, when they first came out, statins could reduce your cholesterol by 30, 35%. Now they can reduce your cholesterol by 45%. So obviously technology and development of statins has become a lot stronger. But if you can lower your cholesterol by 20 to 30%, you may not need to go on statins. And that's what a lot of clients come to me for. They would like to see if they can lower their cholesterol and prevent medication. So very big motivator. So the first food in the portfolio group are lentils and legumes. Now, anyone who knows me will not be surprised that I'm going to talk about lentils and legumes because I think I talk about them almost every time that I speak. I just have, a couple of varieties here, just lentils and cannellini beans. Because of the soluble and insoluble fibre in legumes, that's what helps to reduce the cholesterol. It stops the reabsorption of the fats to go back into your system. Now, you can have canned legumes, you can soak them overnight or longer if you like, and use them from fresh, but they can be used in salads, stir fries, casseroles. I put lentils in almost everything my kids eat. They go in tacos, they go in meatballs, they go in bolognese, they go in soups. It's actually a really versatile food that you can bulk most of your meals up with. Really good in protein, they're low fat, they're high fiber, they're low GI, so they also assist with blood sugar control. And when you eat low GI foods, research also indicates that eating low GI can be a contributing factor to reducing your cholesterol. So we want to try and eat or incorporate lentils and legumes into your meals 2 to 3 times per week, as per the portfolio diet. Okay, the second food or key ingredient in the portfolio diet is soy protein. So I just have some Vitasoy here, but any kind of soy milk, soy and linseed bread, having things like tofu in stir fries or meals, or using edamame beans, the Japanese soya bean, has soy protein in it. Or you can go and sometimes use, like, buy a pre-made soy burger or the soy sausages. I'm quite honest with the fact that I don't eat those things very often. I still find them quite processed. I would prefer to use soya beans. I prefer to use like an organic tofu or some soy and linseed bread or edamame more than the other foods for soy that might also then be high in salt or might have preservatives or additives. Most products are good now. They develop their products without the extra additives and preservatives. The recommendation for portfolio is to try and achieve 25 grams of soy protein per day. So an average milk is about 8 grams of soy protein. Half a cup of edamame is about 6 grams. Half a cup of soybeans is 13 grams. 100 grams or half a cup of tofu will be anywhere between 3 or 10 grams, depending on the brand. So having a couple of serves of soy per day, especially if you switch your milk to soy milk, you can quite easily get close to at least that 20 grams of soy protein per day. The third group of foods in the portfolio diet are nuts and seeds. So I have some great examples here of things like chia seeds that you can add to porridge or smoothies, or I often put them if I'm making some little savoury muffins, or even some homemade sweet muffins that I use now monk fruit sugar to replace the sugar. These go well where you can hide them from children, grandchildren, or other relatives, husbands, wives. Almonds and walnuts were the nuts where they did most of the initial research with nuts and cholesterol lowering, and they gave such effective results that that's where we were encouraged to have a small handful of nuts most days of the week. So a serve of nuts is 30 grams, which is approximately 1/4 of a cup. Now, almonds don't weigh as much as some of the nuts, so you can eat more almonds than, say, macadamia. But if you use the small handful or a 1/4 of a cup, you'll kind of get the right serve for each type of nut. Like pumpkin seeds, pepita seeds. A lot of my clients like to use things like LSA, which is linseed, sunflower seed, and almond meal. The good thing about this is that it's a meal. So where clients will talk to me a little bit about chewing, or if they have a sore jaw with inflammatory arthritis, or if their teeth are not so great, which is a consideration that's very important. Things like LSA or using almond meal or hazelnut meal can really be used in baking or to sprinkle into porridge, and it doesn't affect teeth. And then, of course, we've got wonderful nut butters out there. So this is an almond, Brazil, and cashew spread, but you can get peanut butters, macadamia butters, and if you buy the ones that are the natural, where they don't have a lot of salt or preservatives or additives, they're wonderful. So things like Macro, Mavers, the Good Nut, Sanitarium, there's lots of different brands now for nut spreads. So this one particularly has less than 5 milligrams of sodium in it per serve. And when we talk a little bit about sodium, you'll be able to see how in a day, 5 milligrams is nothing towards the total of what is the safe intake of sodium for your heart. Okay, so we have lentils and legumes 2 to 3 times a week. If you're going to go with soy, I know a lot of people are not comfortable with soy, so not all of my patients take on soy. This is the portfolio diet. The more of them that you can do, usually the better. But of course, we don't say you have to do it if you're not comfortable. But a couple of serves a day of soy. Nuts and seeds, the equivalent of a serve 5 days a week or more. The next group is something we call Plantterols. Now, most of you will know about things like Proactive margarine or the logical margarines. They're the ones where they put Plantterols into the margarine to make it what's called a functional food. So Plantterols are really effective for cholesterol lowering. The recommendation is 2 grams per day, and anything above 3 grams has not been shown to be effective. So if you find a Plantterol supplement, because there are Plantterol supplements out there, just a capsule, don't feel like more is better. 2 grams a day is the recommendation. You can obviously get Plantterols from plants and vegetables and nuts. But in actual fact, the natural amount of Plantterols in those foods is still not going to get very many people up to the 2,000 milligrams per day. So I read that the average vegetarian, who obviously tries to eat a lot of vegetables, takes on about 700 milligrams of Plantterols a day. And we're trying to look for 2,000 for it to be effective, which is why it's probably one of the functional foods that I'm quite happy with. I don't necessarily want people eating margarine, but if you normally eat Weet-Bix, and you can buy the Weet-Bix cholesterol lowering, which is basically the same product, they just put the Plantterols in. 2 of these Weet-Bix biscuits have 2 grams of Plantterols added to it. I quite like, for people who are not lactose intolerant, the Heart Active milk. It also has added Plantterols. So if you had Heart Active milk with your lower cholesterol Weet-Bix, you've definitely hit the amount that's recommended per day. There are the cheeses, there are some margarines, there are some other foods that have the Plantterols included. But like I said, unless you love your margarine and you love your butter, I do have clients that say to me, Mon, do I really have to give it up? And I'll say to them, you don't have to give it up, but then if you don't want to give it up, then maybe switch to a cholesterol lowering one if that's what they're trying to do, lower cholesterol, because butter is not good for cholesterol and it's not good for the heart, unfortunately, because it tastes so good. So most people are happy to switch to logical or Proactive, and then they get the benefit of the Plantterols. Otherwise, from a spread point of view, it's better to use things like nut butters, avocado, hummus, trying to use more natural food or fresh food as a spread instead of butter or margarine. Okay, I'm going to do the last one and then I'm going to pause for questions, because the last one with the portfolio diet, usually I get asked a lot of questions about how to implement this one. But the last one in the portfolio plan is to try and eat viscous fibres. Does anyone know what viscous fibres are? Show of hands. No, that's good. I like it, because viscous fibres are very exciting for cholesterol lowering. They're also really, really good for weight management, for blood sugar control, diabetes. And if you're going to eat carbohydrates as part of any eating plan, you want your carbohydrates to be low GI and good in viscous fibres. So rolled oats actually have something in them called beta glucan, which is really good for cholesterol lowering. They are a viscous fibre. Things like barley, pearl barley, good old grandma's soup kind of barley. Really good in viscous fibres, really low in GI. I think barley is one of the lowest GI carbohydrates you can eat. It is extremely filling. Small portions go a really long way. One of my favourites that I talk to people about with the portfolio diet is psyllium husks. Now, this is a psyllium husk powder. I don't know if you can see, but it's really, really fine. You can also buy psyllium husks, which the only way to describe those is like the sawdust at the circus. It looks and feels a lot like that. There's a product that you can also buy called Beta Glue Care, and they have a powder, and they also have something called Beta Glue Care Crunchy Heart Biscuits. They're these tiny little biscuits. They really look like cat biscuits. That's how I describe them, that are really good for cholesterol lowering. So the psyllium husk is very high in viscous fibres. The Beta Glue Care is a concentrated beta-glucan product. Now, what happens with these is when they travel through your system, they absorb a lot of water. So you do need to drink water, otherwise you can get some stomach aches and it can cause some constipation if you don't drink water. But they absorb water and they become quite gluggy, and they travel through your digestive system like that. And they can't be absorbed because your body can't take this glugginess into its bloodstream. So it continues to go from your small intestine into your large intestine, and then you expel it. But as it's traveling, it actually attracts bile acids, which make cholesterol, fatty acids, cholesterol. It all gets stuck inside this viscous fibre. It's very sticky, so it gets stuck. And basically what it does is exactly what medication does, is that it stops the reabsorption of cholesterol back into your system, and you expel it when you have your waste matter and you go to the bathroom. And so it actually helps you reduce cholesterol going back into your arteries. And it's a really effective, natural way of trying to reduce cholesterol. It's the same as most people would have heard of Metamucil. Metamucil is just flavoured psyllium husks. So for people who don't want to do it plain, it doesn't have any flavour. Psyllium doesn't have any flavour. If anything, people are a little bit cautious of the texture. So if you leave it in, your cereal for too long, it starts to absorb the milk. It will become quite gluggy. So porridge is a really great place to put it. Please do not cook it. You sprinkle it on at the end. If you cook it, it like triples in size and it's really uncomfortable to eat. It's good in smoothies for people who make protein powder smoothies or milk-based kind of smoothies with fruit. Lots of my clients use it in baking. They make their own cholesterol-lowering cookies and they put psyllium husks in with oats and fruit and all sorts of stuff. Some people have got very creative with that. But it's probably one of the best things you can do for cholesterol naturally. I note that if you are on cholesterol-lowering medication, because psyllium is very effective, you need to take it more than an hour away from your medication because it can make the medication not work as well, because it itself works extremely well. So even if you're taking medication, the portfolio diet will complement the medication to hopefully ensure that you don't have to increase your dose of medication. And for some people, if you're not on medication at all, it can actually delay the use of medication. And then if you need it, you might only need a really small dose. And so I get, as you can tell, quite passionate about clients coming to me and saying, my doctor has told me I don't have to go on medication, or I can halve the amount I'm already on because now that I'm doing the portfolio diet, it's working well together and I don't need the stronger dose. Now, if you get joint aches and pains from cholesterol medication, which is probably one of the leading reasons why people don't tolerate statins, so they get a lot of joint aches and pains and muscle aches and pains, having a lower dose is always going to be very favourable. So legumes, soy protein, nuts and seeds, Plantterols, and viscous fibres. The two highest viscous fibre vegetables are okra and eggplant. So if you like to cook with those, that's great. Most people don't use a lot of eggplant and okra. So if you wanted to go and experiment with eggplant and okra, when you cook it, you'll notice it becomes quite slimy. That is viscous fibre in your pot, showing you what happens with most of these once they're in your system. You can actually see the viscous fibres appearing when you cook eggplant and okra. And of course, we always promote, and I've got my little thing here, we always promote fruit and vegetables for all health, but also heart health. I've also got a papaya. I don't have much fresh vegetables or salad left in my fridge either, because I'm only shopping once a week at the moment with COVID. So I'll pause there. Does anybody have any questions for me about the portfolio diet?
Hi, Monica. I've got a couple of questions for you coming from the chat. Before that, though, hi, everyone. I'm Paul. I'll be kind of your voice. So feel free to put any questions in the chat. Make sure we make it as specific as possible. I'm sure Mon really wants to nail down your questions. I unfortunately don't have a papaya to show off, but I do have a question for you. Back to your question on your statement on soy milks. Tiffany asks that she is dairy-free, prefers the taste of almond milk over soy milk, and if nuts are good for lowering your cholesterol, does that mean almond milk is good as well?
It's a very good question. I'm actually not sure how much research has been done with nut milks and cholesterol. Typically because most almond milks, for example, only have about 2% of actual almonds in them. So my educated guess would be is that they're not as effective for this particular reason, but that's not to say that it's not effective overall, because when you replace some of the saturated fat in dairy with other alternatives, such as an almond milk, which would be lower in saturated fat, research shows that replacing saturated fat with other alternative, so legume and lentils for meat, almond milk for milk, then that also can help reduce cholesterol. So maybe not directly, Tiffany, but indirectly, it's probably still helping.
So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed part 1 of Eating for a Healthy Heart with our dietitian Monica. If you'd like to continue watching the rest of the presentation, then please consider signing up for BJC Connect. You can set up an account for free, where we keep the rest of our presentations stored. But thanks once again for watching and supporting our channel. Look forward to seeing you soon.